What if I told you that some cities in southeast Nigeria, without oil wealth, without seaports, and without federal mega budgets, are quietly outperforming entire African state capitals in commerce, education, manufacturing, nightlife, and human capital? From markets that move billions weekly, to industrial clusters feeding West Africa, to cities that export talents to the world. Today, on 1010 Media, we reveal 5 Southeast Nigerian cities that are not just surviving, but rivaling the economic, cultural, and developmental power of African capitals. This is not hype. This is data. This is history. This is the Southeast story told properly. Across Africa, national and state capitals are traditionally viewed as centers of power, hubs of politics, infrastructure, diplomacy, and economic opportunities. From Accra to Kigali, Nairobi to Addis Ababa, capitals concentrate institutions, industries, universities, and investment flows. Yet, in Southeast Nigeria, something unusual has happened. Some cities, despite lacking federal capital status, oil wealth, and special administrative advantages, have evolved into economic and cultural powerhouses, competing not just with Nigerian state capitals, but with entire African capitals in commercial volumes, manufacturing densities, educational outputs, cultural influence, entrepreneurial ecosystems, diaspora impact. These cities did not grow because of oil discoveries. They did not grow because of massive government grants. They grew because of trade, culture, apprenticeship system, risk-taking, entrepreneurship, dense human capital, and relentless ambition. Today, we explore 5 of them: Umuahia, Owerri, Onitsha, Aba, and Enugu. 5 cities, 5 stories, 1 region redefining urban competitiveness in Africa. Umuahia is often underestimated, and that may be its greatest strength. Unlike the loud commercial swagger of Onitsha or the industrial buzz of Aba, Umuahia projects calm, but beneath that calm lies a city that quietly rivals many African state capitals in education density, governance stability, human capital production, and commercial integration. Umuahia hosts some of the Southeast Nigeria's most respected educational institutions: Abia State University, Michael Okpara University of Agriculture, multiple federal colleges, nursing schools, and private universities, allied secondary institutions producing national exam toppers. Many African capitals struggle to combine agricultural research, technology education, and professional training with a compact urban cluster. Umuahia does this effortlessly. Graduates from Umuahia populate Nigerian banking sectors, medical institutions, engineering firms, diaspora professional networks. In human capital output per capita, Umuahia quietly competes with capitals across West and Central Africa. As Abia State capital, Umuahia functions as a governance hub, hosting ministries, courts, regional agencies, and civil service institutions. Unlike hyper-congested capitals, where governance collapses under the population pressure, Umuahia offers lower crime rates, stable urban layouts, predictable transport flows, lower cost of living, better quality of life to income ratios. For investors, SMEs, and professionals seeking stability without chaos, Umuahia increasingly rivals capitals like Freetown, Monrovia, Bangui, Juba, and Banjul. Though not a megacity like Onitsha or Aba, Umuahia functions as a regional distribution hub, connecting Aba's manufacturing, Owerri's hospitality economy, Enugu's administration, Imo and Akwa Ibom's agricultural zones. Traders move goods from Aba's factories through Umuahia to Akwa Ibom, Cross River, Rivers, and northern Nigeria. Its wholesale and retail economy punches far above its population size, mirroring the economic profile of African capitals built on trade corridors rather than oil or tourism. Why Umuahia rivals African capitals? Because it offers something rare: high human capital, governance stability, regional commercial connectivity, livable without mega-city chaos. In many African countries, only capitals achieve these combinations. In Southeast Nigeria, Umuahia delivers it quietly. If Umuahia is calm intelligence, Owerri is youthful energy. Owerri has transformed itself into one of Nigeria's most vibrant hospitality, entertainment, leisure and lifestyle economies, rivaling capitals whose GDP is driven by tourism, nightlife and urban services. Today, Owerri is widely regarded as the hospitality capital of eastern Nigeria, a nightlife destination for Southeast and South Nigeria, a student magnet, a diaspora leisure hub, and in the same category, Owerri rivals African capitals such as Accra, Kigali, Kampala, Gaborone, and Windhoek. Owerri's hotel density rivals that of many African capitals, from international standard hotels to boutiques, resorts, from conference centers to entertainment lounges. Owerri's hospitality ecosystem is massive relative to its population. The city supports hundreds of hotels, dozens of high-end lounges, conference tourism, weekend leisure, migration from Aba, Onitsha, Umuahia, Port Harcourt, Uyo, and Asaba in peak seasons, festive periods, political seasons, cultural festivals. Owerri functions like a regional capital city, absorbing traffic from multiple states. Owerri is one of Nigeria's densest university cities. Federal University of Technology Owerri, FUTO, Imo State University, Eastern Palm University, several polytechnics and colleges. This concentration produces a massive youth population, fueling tech startups, entertainment businesses, hospitality demand, transport networks, and fashion markets. In demographic structures alone, Owerri mirrors African capitals with youthful population, driving consumption and innovation. Owerri punches far above its weight in music production, film production, comedy, fashion, and digital media. Many Nigerian entertainers trace their creative incubation to Owerri's club scenes, campuses, and creative spaces. Where some African capitals rely on tourism boards and state funding to power nightlife economies, Owerri's nightlife is organic, built by youths, entrepreneurship, private investment, and cultural energy. Why Owerri rivals African capitals? Because it has built a leisure-driven urban economy that rivals capitals whose GDP is driven by tourism, hospitality, youth consumption, creative industries. Without oil, without ports, and without federal headquarters, Owerri's economy runs on people and people alone. If Africa had a city of indigenous commerce, Onitsha would be it. Onitsha is not merely a city, it is a trade civilization. With one of the largest open-air markets in West Africa, Onitsha handles billions of naira in goods weekly, moving everything from pharmaceuticals to electronics, textiles to foodstuffs, building materials to spare parts. In trade volume, Onitsha rivals and often surpasses African capitals that host national ports, custom headquarters, export processing zones, international trade hubs. Before the devastating 2016 fire, Onitsha main market was ranked among the largest in West Africa by trade population and volume. Even after rebuilding it, it remains the trade magnet, serving Nigeria, Niger, Cameroon, Chad, Benin Republic, Togo, and Ghana. Goods arrive from Lagos ports, Aba factories, Onne ports, Asia, and Europe, then redistributes across the Sahel and coastal West Africa. Few African capitals, even with seaports, command such deep inland trade penetrations. Onitsha's location on the Niger River and its proximity to major highways make it a logistics nerve center. Goods flow from Lagos to Onitsha to the north, Aba to Onitsha to northwest Africa, Onitsha to Benin, to Togo, to Ghana. In logistics footprint alone, Onitsha rivals capitals like Bamako, Niamey, Ouagadougou, and Djamena. Cities whose economies are anchored on inland trade corridors. What makes Onitsha exceptional is not just volume, it is capital accumulation velocity. Thousands of traders start as apprentices, graduate into wholesalers, build factories, open import channels, establish regional branches. This decentralized capital engine produces business owners at a scale unmatched by many African capitals. Onitsha doesn't wait for government investment, it manufactures entrepreneurs daily. Why does Onitsha rival African capitals? Because it operates as a continental commercial capital without being a political capital. Its trade influence spans borders, currencies, and cultures, a feat few African capitals achieve organically. If Onitsha is Africa's trading capital, Aba is Africa's manufacturing workshop. Aba is one of the rare African cities where indigenous manufacturing dominates urban identity. Shoes, bags, belts, textiles, garments, cosmetics, furniture, and machinery parts. In Aba, these are not cottage industries, these are industrial ecosystems. Aba's clusters, Ariaria, Ongwa Road, Asa Road, Osisioma, Obo Hill, host tens of thousands of workshops and factories producing goods that circulate across Nigeria, West Africa, Central Africa, diaspora African markets. In manufacturing employment density, Aba rivals capital cities like Addis Ababa, Nairobi, Kigali, and Dakar. But unlike these capitals, Aba's industrialization is indigenous, private sector driven, informal to formal, apprenticeship powered. Aba produces millions of shoes annually, millions of bags annually, millions of leather goods annually. Many brands sold across Nigeria, even imported looking brands, originate from Aba's workshops. Few African capitals can claim this level of domestic manufacturing substitutions. Aba's apprenticeship system functions like an industrial accelerator. Teenagers enter workshops, learn production, graduate with capital, launch their own brands, train new apprentices, multiply the ecosystem. This decentralized manufacturing engine mirrors industrial revolutions without state planning. Why Aba rivals African capitals? Because Aba functions as a continental manufacturing capital, not just a Nigerian city. Its production density, job creation capacity, and indigenous industrial sophistication rival state capitals that rely on export processing zones and multinational factories. Aba built industrialization with hand tools and scaled it to continental reach. Enugu is where Southeast Nigeria institutionalized modern urbanism. Built during the colonial times as a coal mining headquarters, Enugu evolved into administrative nerve center, educational powerhouse, healthcare hub, transportation gateway, and cultural capital. Unlike cities built purely by commerce, Enugu was built as a planned city, and that legacy shows. Enugu hosts Southeast regional institutions, federal agencies, military commands, judicial centers, educational regulatory bodies. In governance density, Enugu rivals capitals like Gaborone, Lusaka, Lilongwe, Maseru, and Moroni. Enugu functions as an institutional anchor of the Southeast, where policy, administration, and regional coordination converge. Enugu hosts the University of Nigeria Nsukka, a regional magnet, Enugu State University of Science and Technology, College of Medicine and Teaching Hospitals, federal and private institutions. Its student population fuels housing, commerce, healthcare, transport, publishing, and research sectors, much like African capitals with major university clusters. Enugu is one of Nigeria's strongest regional healthcare hubs. Teaching hospitals, private specialist centers, diagnostic laboratories, pharmaceuticals distribution networks. Patients arrive from Ebonyi, Benue, Cross River, Kogi, and northern Nigeria. In healthcare centrality, Enugu rivals capitals across Central and East Africa. Why Enugu rivals African capitals? Because it functions as a regional administrative, education, and healthcare capital without being a national capital. Its institutional gravity mirrors capitals whose economies evolve around governance and services rather than ports or oil. What makes these 5 cities extraordinary is not just their individual strength, it is their network effect. Within a 150-kilometer radius, Southeast Nigeria hosts Africa's largest indigenous market city, Onitsha, Africa's indigenous manufacturing capital, Aba, Eastern Nigeria's hospitality capital, Owerri, a governance stability and education hub, Umuahia, a regional administrative capital, Enugu. Together, they function like a multi-capital mega-region similar to the Randstad in Netherlands, the Pearl River Delta in China, the Gauteng City region in South Africa. But unlike these regions, Southeast Nigeria built these networks without federal mega funding, oil wealth, or port dominance. It was built on apprenticeship, trade culture, mobility, risk-taking, family enterprise, informal to formal entrepreneurship. This is not accident development, this is civilization economics. When we compare Umuahia, Owerri, Onitsha, Aba, and Enugu to African capitals, the question is no longer, can these cities compete? The real question is, why aren't these cities globally recognized yet? Because in trade, Onitsha rivals inland capitals. Manufacturing, Aba rivals industrial capitals. Hospitality, Owerri rivals tourism capitals. Governance, Enugu rivals administrative capitals. Human capital, Umuahia rivals educational capitals. These cities prove something profound. You do not need oil to build prosperity. You do not need ports to create wealth. You do not need federal headquarters to drive development. You only need people organized around enterprise. And Southeast Nigeria has mastered that formula. If this video changed how you see the Southeast Nigeria, hit the like button because these stories deserve visibility. Subscribe to 1010 Media for documentaries that tell African real economic stories, beyond headlines, beyond stereotypes, beyond silence. Drop a comment. Which Southeast city do you think rivals African capitals the most? Aba, Onitsha, Owerri, Enugu, or Umuahia? And share this video because African True Development Story deserves a global audience.